Today's video covers the deaths of Errol McGowan and his nephew Jason in the town of Telford. I read about this story and I found it incredibly strange of the circumstances around their deaths. Was it coincidental suicides or was it a secret racist mob at the heart of it all? Let's review what happened. Errol McGowan was a 34-year-old builder and part-time doorman who was well known in the area and generally well liked. All seemed well in his life as he was planning to marry his long-term partner Sharon Buttery, with whom he had 2 children with. Errol, for the last 3 months, had been the victim of a sustained and increased campaign of racial hate and intimidation, led by one man named Robert Boyle. Errol was so convinced that he would meet his end at the hands of Boyle and his group, that he reportedly said to a friend, "If anything happens to me, it would be Robert Boyle." Errol went from a happy-go-lucky man into a paranoid and miserable wreck, leading to him being prescribed pills for his insomnia and depression. His partner said that Errol came up to her with his head in his hands saying that he doesn't know what to do. Errol also referred to having trouble with Combat 18, a reference to the notorious neo-Nazi group with links to the UK hooligan scene. Hooligans, in essence, were organised gangs divided by the football teams they support. The UK for years had problems containing hooligan violence, whether it was towards other travelling football supporters or minorities. This idea is further cemented by the testimony of Dean Gordon, who claims to have been told by 3 white Birmingham City fans in a Birmingham pub that Robert Boyle had placed the McGowans on a death list, which one of the men then allegedly showed to Gordon. The existence of this death list is not confirmed, however. It has never been found, and local media and police argued that the organised Birmingham hooligan group was one of the most racially mixed groups in the country, even calling themselves the Zulus. We can confirm that Errol was being harassed and threatened by Boyle and his group that does have links to extreme racial hatred and violence, but we cannot confirm if they had an organised plan to kill him. All of these events led to one day on July 1999, he was found hanged an inch off the ground from the door handle of a home he was looking after for a friend. His body did not show any signs of struggle, but neighbours reported hearing a commotion. Errol's death was immediately dismissed as a suicide, despite the odd nature of the low-level hanging. His friends and family were distraught, but unfortunately, that was not the end of the family's tragedy. 20-year-old newly married Jason McGowan was described as an intelligent, tenacious young man. It was said he was investigating the death of his uncle and was allegedly close to finding the truth, according to his family. Family members reportedly asked why police failed to carry out forensic testing and were told that it wasn't necessary as police had already deemed the death a suicide within 1 hour. Chillingly, Jason's uncle Noel was allegedly told, "If you lot don't leave it with this Errol thing, one of you will pay," in relation to Jason's investigations. On New Year's Day 2000, Jason had reportedly been celebrating with his wife at a local pub and had told friends he didn't need to make a New Year's resolution, as life was perfect. However, he is also reported to have argued with his wife that night, appeared tearful, and left the party half an hour before midnight to be alone. He was then also found hanged, this time with a belt, from railings over a busy road in Telford. The police botched the investigation of the crime scene worse than Errol's, as Jason was found dead on a busy public road. The police failed to get local CCTV, failed to get interviews from people who were near the area at the time, failed to get phone records of Jason's mobile and other crucial forensic evidence because they yet again dismissed it as another suicide. 2 years after the final hanging and 2 inquests later, police were forced to reverse their decision and record an open verdict in the case. A hollow victory for the family, as although it meant their concerns were taken seriously by the police, it also meant that answers were unlikely to ever be found due to the serious mishandling of the investigation by the local police. Vital forensic evidence had been lost or destroyed at the crime scene, and the Telford police was severely criticised by the London Metropolitan Police, which led to a huge overhaul on how they dealt with future cases. This will bring no comfort to the McGowan family though. Over 20 years later, and there are too many unexplored gaps and oversights into the investigation. The police did not do their job whatsoever, whether it was a possible cover-up or pure incompetence. If they investigated Errol's death properly, then they would have known for sure what his cause of death was. Instead, they dismissed it within the hour and gave the family no closure on what really happened. Jason's death is also very unjust. He was investigating his uncle's death, and after I read the few news reports that are still up from the early 2000s, The harassment Errol received, I also would have worked tirelessly to find out who these men were that were threatening him on the phone and threatening him with death near daily. The latest update I could find about Errol and Jason's death being mismanaged is from 2003, where Jason's death was unruled as a suicide but instead as an open verdict, which means that the death is suspicious but cannot say for certainty what the cause of death was. But this story is one of many in how racism is more powerful than words and threats, and how if the police do not take it seriously, it can destroy families.